Here's a very cute DIY on how to make a fun blouse with open sleeves and bow details. Grab a dress that has a lot of material or about 1.5 yards of fabric. Cut the dress's bottom from the top. Lay the top out onto the bottom of the dress, lining it up with the original bottom hem. If your dress has a button front or center seam in the back, then lay the top down the center. Otherwise, lay it where you can salvage as much fabric as possible, then cut it out. Sew up the shoulder seams and the side seams. Grab a top that has long sleeves and lay it out on some of the remaining fabric. Trace around the sleeve, making an A-line shape for a peasant-looking sleeve. Make sure to cut a front and back piece instead of one big piece. Sew up the shorter sides of the sleeves front and back together, then serge and zigzag stitch the two long edges separately. Sew the top 2 inches and the bottom 2 inches of the sleeve's long sides. Sew the serged edges once or twice under. This will end up looking like a top stitch. Grab more fabric and cut out 8 3-inch by 10 to 20-inch strips. This will become the bows. I ended up making mine longer because I liked bigger bows. Fold up each strip in half and sew the edge and one end. Flip them right side out and iron. Sew 2 of the strips together to make a long strip for the cuff. Pin and sew where you want the non-cuff strips to be. I put them just above the elbow. You can sew under the edge of the bow before you attach it if you want to hide the serged edge. Serge the bottom of the sleeves. Measure and mark your wrist around the center seam of the cuff and add a 1/2 inch to both sides. Pin the center of the cuff to the center under the seam of the sleeve. Pin the wrist markings close to the other sleeve seam. Gather the sleeve end into the cuff as you sew. Top stitch the serged edge back under into the sleeve. Turn the sleeve right side out and slide it into the armhole of the top, which is inside out. Pin and sew. I also gathered a little near the top of the sleeve near the shoulder seam. If you have button-up back or open back, then sew it closed here if you want. Hem the neckline by folding the neckline under 1/4 inch twice and sewing near the outside edge. But do not stretch as you sew because you do not want the hem to roll out. Thanks for watching. Subscribe and visit cottonandcurls.com for more DIYs.